We are live.
We are live. So I was able to, we're going to let some people jump on here. We're going to have a fun time with y'all today. But I'm going to wait. How y'all doing? I ripped James from his work. We all work very hard, but James works
the hardest.
He works the hardest. So he gets the You Work the Hardest award for the year. So anyway, I told James I was going to force him on a podcast for y'all. And we are going to be talking about business stuff, financial stuff. This is going to be more geared towards younger people or older people. Doesn't matter. Moderately aged people. Doesn't matter. Wanted to really just talk about.
Hey, Carlos.
Carlos is on. How you doing, buddy? So for people that are rewatching this, thank you so much for clicking on today's video, and hopefully you got some headphones on and either working outside or working out or working on your business. But anyway, we got some Texas Boys coffee here, and wanted to change it up, give y'all a podcast. We got some new mics and everything like that, so y'all should be liking it. And I changed up the camera settings, so it should look a wee bit nicer. So anyway, today we are going to be talking about how we went from nothing to a full-time home business in 2 years. So just wanted to kind of talk about that in today's video. We're still waiting for some people to jump on here, but mainly we started our business 2 years ago, but we started our YouTube channel 6 years ago. But we did not start the YouTube channel as a business. It was just for fun.
Yeah.
Clearly strictly for fun. Probably like what?
I don't want to cut you off. Do you want to tell that story like real quick? That way
go ahead. You can tell it. Okay. I've said it so many times.
Okay.
You try.
So 6 years ago, we came in and we asked our mom after mowing for one of our neighbors down the road for a couple months, that we saved up $20. No, or was it? Well, we saved up a little bit more than 20. I think it was like $30.
Yeah.
And we came in and we asked her, could we buy this camera and go on Amazon? It was called a Goo Kit. We still have it somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. It's lying around.
And it was $25. And we said, we want to get it. Me and him didn't tell mom, but we wanted to get it because it came with a waterproof case. Yeah. And we could take it in the swimming pool. But we just told her we wanted to film stuff with it.
Yeah.
So we got it. And then once we got it, we're like, hey, can we make a YouTube channel?
I don't know. I don't know what made us think like what a YouTube channel would benefit us. I don't know. And any other day of the week, I think Mom would have said no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know why she said
we were little kids at the time. I mean, I was only 11 or 12 years old. You were what, like 9 or 10? Yeah. And I
don't know why she said yes.
Yeah, I mean, little kids on YouTube and give them a camera and stuff. She's like, yeah, absolutely. You can have your own YouTube channel, but you just can't use your real names. You can't say where you live and all this type of stuff. And, you know, I'll watch you edit it and everything like that. So we were like, okay. So we just started off from there, and we got our camera. And sadly, the purpose that we bought it for, we couldn't use it because Mom said it was...
She didn't want us to ruin it by taking it in the pool. So we couldn't make an underwater video.
Yeah, so we were like, well, I guess we'll just have to go film some other stuff. So I think we filmed like all types of stuff, like bike tricks.
Yeah.
If y'all go back into the Wayback Machine, we have over 1,400 videos, and man, we got all types of crazy stuff on there. I made trying to stay on track, but I made a video about, me and you made a video about putting together a Walmart bike, like
a mountain bike,
like a BMX or mountain bike, and it has like over 5,000 views. It's just one of those videos. I named it the
exact bike that you put together.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just like how to assemble whatever.
Yeah, it was a Walmart special
mountain bike.
And I look back now, I'm like, dude, that has like 5,000. It might have more.
I can't believe that many people watched us put together that bike.
And I mean, it was very cheesily. I mean, we set up a tripod, fast motioned it, and kind of talked. It was hilarious. But anyway, 2 years ago, we started taking it really serious. We started I think we mainly hit a maturity. We finally got mature enough to start thinking about businesses and thinking about our future on the farm. You know, definitely thinking about. I'm big picture type of guy, which you probably are as well. But the thing is I was thinking, I was like, okay, I either have to grab this internet business and run with it and try as hard as possible to make this thing work, or I'm going to have to leave the farm. And then what were you thinking 2 years ago?
Well,
before everything
when
kinda
we
took off?
first started the website, I told him, I said, hey, we should start a website. Like, I know how to do it. But I said, we should start a website with one of these website companies. That way it makes it easier to do it, like a platform that's already set up.
We're not like encoding.
To sell sweet potato slips.
Yes.
Because we were selling, before that, we were selling sweet potato slips locally, and we were selling a couple. If someone would email us, we would send it to them. But we wanted to sell sweet potato slips. That's what we started out with. Like the first 6 months of the website, we just sold a couple sweet potato slips like every week.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much we started with. And then after that, we said we should sell tea. Yeah. Like buy it in bulk, bag it up.
Well, actually, what we did actually at first, we actually were growing our own tea.
Yes.
So we were harvesting the fig
mulberry tea.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So now what we do is we buy it from a farmer and
organic tea.
Yeah, organic farmer, and we buy it in like bulk. And so we can get it at a really good price. It's really, really, really high quality tea. So that's the tea that's on our website right now.
Then we mix it depending on what we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Like our mixes.
Yeah, but I mean, it was hilarious. We were in our tiny house. That was probably like the first year in our tiny house, probably. Definitely, or a couple months in our tiny house. And man, it was nuts. We pulled out the like a little folding table, and we were that's back when we used to tie our tea bags, and
we had those cotton tea bags.
Dude, we would tie several hundred tea bags a day. I mean, it was
10 in a box.
10 in a box. Buddy got the fastest at it. Dude, that guy could tie some tea bags, man. Yeah. I would pack them in there, and I couldn't put 1 teaspoonful of tea in each tea bag. That's what you do. I couldn't put tea fast enough in the tea bags for him to tie it. I'm like, dude, this kid was so stank fast. Like he was straight up machine, man. And we put him in these little craft boxes, but it was exciting. Yeah. It was so exciting, and it was the first time. Well, it was the first time we ever sold anything to y'all and had a product for y'all, pretty much. I mean, other than that, we might have had some T-shirts, like the Texas Boys T-shirt or something like that. Didn't really do well, but whatever. You know, we had a couple sales. You know, a couple here or there, maybe a dozen T-shirts or so. And once again, just wanted to say hello to all y'all that joined. Thank you so much, Carlos, who has Curly Q Stooge. Thank y'all so much for being on. Hopefully, y'all are enjoying us ramble. So, anyway, it was definitely a big blessing that took off. We really started it back when we went on our 2,000-mile vacation journey. Yeah. We went up to the north, and we visited some friends and stuff like that.
And that's when we took some tea up with us. Yeah. And then we're like, yeah, you know what's funny is we've been making all this tea and selling it all, and we started selling tea, and we haven't even tasted any of it yet.
Yeah.
Any of our own
so
tea.
like not in the tea bags. Like we've tasted the actual raw leaf, and you put it in there. So we're like, hey, we should go ahead and try out these tea bags that we've been making and everything. It was amazing. Yeah. Like it was really good. All of our friends loved it. We had to kind of be like Indian givers because we had several people that we were going to stop at, and we're like, oh, we'll give them like 8 boxes of tea. We only brought like maybe 10 boxes of tea or so. And we're like, hey, we need like 2 or 3 boxes back from you because we got several other people that keep adding on to the list of people that we were going to meet. And they were like, man, y'all are some Indian givers or whatever. So it was quite funny. So anyway, it really took off.
And that, I mean,
which
like,
was a blessing. I mean, we're not bragging or anything. I'll brag
Yeah.
on God, but you know, the thing is that I wanted to say this too. If you live in America, and if you're a young kid, older person, medium-aged person, it doesn't matter. Just you living in America is a blessing from God, and it's just a blessing from God, and you're blessed to be in America where you have the freedom. You know, if you're not in a really free state, you can move at any time for right now to a freer state if you want to, which is a blessing. And you don't got to get pokes and stuff like that if you get my gist. And yeah, you're absolutely blessed if you live in America. And there's no such thing as you being poor or anything like that in America. That's silly. At any time you could go out and get a job like that instantaneously.
Yeah.
It's silly. So if you are homeless or anything like that, it's on you. Because in America, if you have a dream, you can run with it. And a lot of people that I've seen do that.
Yeah.
It works out pretty well for them. And, you know, of course, there's ups and downs and hiccups and stuff like that. But
yeah,
if you're in America, you are blessed beyond your wildest imagination, because it's just incredible. And God blessed us kids to live in America. And anyway, have amazing parents, which definitely does help.
Yeah.
So what were you going to
And
say?
I would like to backtrack a little bit,
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
before we had the business, the website, we did work for a lot of our other neighbors and do jobs, and we did have that work ethic. Let me say it right.
Yes.
Pounded into us at a young age, which
From
really
our mother
helps.
and father.
Which you need that work ethic. But once you start with one thing, like once we had the website and we started with tea, once you make that money, even if it's just a small amount, once you're making a product and selling it and making that money and hearing feedback and stuff, it really pounds you into, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, and we could do this, and we can do that. And it makes you think of new ideas, and that's what really gives you that entrepreneurial
Yeah, and
mindset.
the thing is that I've been asked several times by other kids and stuff like that, just back before it was like in between when the website was kind of taken off and the YouTubes were doing good and everything like that. And they were like, how do you save money? Or how do you get money? You know, it's just a very basic question. It was a very good question. So I started pondering it and everything like that. And I told them, like, you save everything you got. You save $20 here, $5 there, $10 here. My dad was a financial advisor. I haven't taken any courses or anything, y'all. This is just me and James haven't listened to any financial stuff. This is right off the top of our head. So anyway, you just save as much as you can, and all your wants and desires, and, you know, oh, I would love to have this pair of shoes or whatever it is in life, you have to put it off. And it's been a real big blessing from the Lord that, you know, it's taken me 6 years to fulfill some of my wants, you know, just flesh. I know it's very fleshly, but, you know, whatever it is, if it's a cowboy hat or a pair of shoes or a pair of jeans or whatever it is, you know, but you got to put it off, because, you know, you have to save as much money as you can, even if it's only little bits at a time. You just keep saving it and you keep saving it until you can invest it. And then you want to invest it into something that will pay for itself in the long run. So whatever that is, a wood splitter, fill in the blank. I mean, it's chainsaw.
Doesn't have to be something that's a business technically.
No, but like a
tool that'll repay itself. Like, you're not going to save up a bunch of money and then at the end of the month go out to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not helping.
So that's a lot of kids nowadays. I do see them, like, they'll buy an iPhone, they'll buy really expensive shoes, they'll buy really expensive clothing.
They'll buy a truck that, like, not even a normal person could afford.
Yeah, or that stuff that is not going to give you back any money. Yeah. You know, it's okay. An iPhone can, or just a normal phone, not sponsored by Apple. We use Google phones, but anyway.
But you don't need the most expensive.
No.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Buy
You
it
want
for
it
a
to
tool.
work?
If you're going to buy a phone, buy it for a tool because that's what it is. If you're buying it to flash it off and look cool, it only lasts so long, y'all, until the new one comes out, and then kids normally like to throw them away. So anyway, yeah, just saving your money. I mean, just recently we've been able to actually fulfill some of our wants, but mainly our wants are more business related stuff. Like I've always dreamed of having something like this. I mean, it's taken me 6 years, and that's really awesome and a big blessing from God. And I give God all the praise and glory for it. Because if it was just me, this would not be a thing. And now with the YouTube studio and everything like that. But yeah, the other thing too is I know not all kids want to run their own businesses. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. They don't want to. They just want to have a 9-to-5 job. And I get that. There's people out there that want to have a 9-to-5 job. They don't want to deal with all the stress of owning their own business. And that's
good. You want to have some people that are doing normal jobs, getting the majority of work done. Just when you're going to get a job like that, don't go get a job that once you quit the job or once you're done with the job, you don't gain any knowledge. All you do is make money. Yeah. Like if you go to McDonald's, you're not coming back and you're like, I know all this stuff. If you're going to be a welder
or whatever, it could be any.
If you can, normal jobs are fine, but
a trade job is the best. I would say.
Go get a trade, learn something.
Yeah, carpentry, electrical, HVAC, welding.
Yeah. Something that'll.
It does not have to be an online business like we're doing. It's not just the online business that we have. We have several businesses outside of this. I mean, the other thing too, I wanted to make this podcast for kids too, and just to encourage them too. The other thing is, y'all, is just if you're a young adult, young lady, whatever it is just working hard and having a good attitude.
Yeah.
And that will spread. So, I mean, we get loads and loads of people, quite a bit around the community that it travels around the grapevine very fast. And they're like, oh, I heard that you do really good work. And I heard that, you can weld or something. So we'll go weld for them. And then they're like, oh man, I need somebody to do some excavator work. I'm like, well, I've ran an excavator for a very long time, for a couple years, or several times in a row throughout the years. And I'm like, I can dig ditches and whatever, grade a little bit here and there. And he's like, awesome. So, those things, a handyman is like super cool trade because you're a jack of all trades. And
they don't have that many.
Huh?
People pay a lot.
Oh yeah.
To get someone to come out that can do a little bit of
everything. I like the jack of all trades, master of none, but we're really trying to be jack of all trades and then trying as hard as possible to master our trades. It is very hard to master them all. Probably by the time me and James reach the end of our life and when we die, we will be the master of them finally. But maybe, probably not. Anyway,
one or two of them
we would have mastered, Lord willing. So yeah, just working hard. I was on a podcast. Forget the name of the guys, but the name of the guy. It's gonna be coming out pretty soon, and I wanted to pick your brain. What would be on top of working really hard? And I don't want to put you in the spotlight too much, but excuse me. Do you have any advice or tips or tricks for any young people out there that want to either start a business or a side hustle or just make some extra revenue that would fund their business or something like that?
So whatever. I mean, if it's a normal job, show up on time. Show up if you really want to be good. Show up a little bit early.
That's what us kids, we're always like, we try our hardest to show up at least 10 minutes early.
Don't be the person when the job's almost done and the guy says, hey, we could just stop now and because we got to do blah, blah. Don't be the person who says, yeah, I want to stop now.
Don't. Well, go ahead. I'll say my thoughts. Okay, go ahead.
And then work as hard as you can and be respectable.
Yeah.
And there's really not a job that you can't get if you
So,
do those things.
I was gonna say, perfect example. We were on a welding job for a guy. He stopped by and he was like, "Hey, we do jobs with him, not all the time, but rare, every couple months or so, he'll get a job lined up and he'll need some extra help, and he knows we do really good work and we'll be there, and we're loyal kids, loyal workers." And he's like, all I need from y'all is just to set in some beams and stuff like that. Well, we're like 40 minutes, an hour into setting the beams, and we're all done. Like, all done. Beams are all in, everything. He's like, well, if y'all are fine with it, we'll start with the rest of the barn, And we're getting to the end of the day. And, what was it, around 5 or so? We started at around 8. We got there around 8. And by 5 o'clock that afternoon, it was all done.
Yep, the whole barn.
Whole barn was done. So he was like, "Oh, thank you so much," And it's just one of those things, it's not, it would have been a different story if we were like, "Oh, the beams are done, take us home,"
Yeah.
That's all you wanted us for.
Yeah, because that's
going
what
above
he
and beyond.
said, well, we'll do the beams and I'll come back another day and finish up some of the tin on the roof and then come back another day where we're like, well, we're here.
Yeah.
And let's
pump it
out.
Yeah. And it was not a cool day. It was like 100 plus degrees outside. Yeah. And we worked our tails off and we got her done. And that's just one thing. It's just work ethic. And mainly our mom instilled that in us, like Dad did. Dad gave us our smarts, but mainly Mom, because Mom's home every day. Dad gets home in the evenings and stuff like that. And we got the weekends. Now we got even longer weekends because Dad has the 3-day weekends now. So that's even nicer. But Mom's there every minute of the day. So she was out there, especially in the early years of homesteading. And man, she would work laps around us kids. And she would work. And she would force us to work with her, which I'm so grateful that she did. And she forced us to work beside her. And even if we were not having the best attitude or whatever, or just, not happy about doing it or whatever, and even if we were crying or sore or tired, she would always just drag us along in a kind way, y'all, in a kind way. And I'm just so thankful that she did that because she instilled that hard work ethic. And even when the going gets tough, you just get down and you just buckle up and you just put your nose to the grindstone type of deal.
Yeah.
And you just bore through. And I'm just so thankful that my mom instilled that in us kids. Yeah. So, and it's so funny. I was telling James, I was like, for the longest time, James was like my buddy and he was like right beside me and he was learning stuff from me. But now just all of a sudden you've kind of like blown up and you're your own guy now and you're like kind of more grown up and you really just take stuff. Like you don't even have to consult me anymore. I consult you all the time now. Like, what are you doing? Like, like all that type of stuff, which is really cool.
I consult him like, hey, can we pay for this?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell people. I'm like, I make the money for him and he does all the projects. So
almost true.
I try to help out as much as possible. But you really like James really likes working alone sometimes. I think it's like your happy place.
Yeah.
If you can just kind of zone out or zone in kind of and just kind of be left alone. And I mean, just like that one night that we were on a live stream, you snuck back in there and you finished the whole entire floor. Why? I want to know from you, why does that drive you crazy that something's not done?
Well,
or what?
Well, we bought the flooring like 3 days ago, and then I'm like, okay, well, I had to finish the beams, and I had to finish the trim, and Mom and me had to finish the paint. And then that night, we got all that done, and we just started on the floor, and everyone's like, oh, come on, we're fine. Oh, it's good. We'll do the rest tomorrow. But you were doing live stream. I'm like, well, if I go out there, I could just finish it, because I set goals in like my mind, like every day, like I want to do this. Like yesterday, I'm like, I want to do that piece of butcher block. and I want to get it all epoxied and done. And even though it was 9 o'clock and I was doing the epoxy, I'm like, I don't care, because if I don't do it now, I don't finish my goal. Where if I'm like, I want to do the flooring today, and then we stop, I'm like, oh, I can just go out there and finish it, and then it's done, and then I can have a new goal the next day. And it just satisfies me that it's all done.
Yeah. So do you ever get tired or burn out from doing that sometimes?
If it's like the same project over and over and over and over again, then I will a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I'll switch projects. Like when we're working on the big shop, I'm like, I could just keep going out there and burning myself out, but I'm like, I'm going to start a new project, even though most people will be like, finish your one project before you start a new project. I start up a bunch of projects because I get more done, because if I get tired of that, I'm like, oh, I'll go work on the hot tub.
Yeah.
Go fix that.
Work on this for 30 minutes. Yeah. I'll work on this for an hour.
I'll paint that side of the shop. I'll go do this. And I'll work
on the
tiny house.
Because I could see you like,
if I just went out there and just worked on the shop, I would just be so done. You would lose your mind.
Shop. Yeah. You would go crazy. Yeah. So it's always nice to have several projects to an extent. Yes. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming when
then you
stuff
just
happens.
Finish one and go to the next one. Finish one and go to the next one.
So where did you learn? I always wanted to know, where did you really like, why do you love working with wood, and like how did you learn all those skills without me like learning all those skills? Well, it's just not my passion.
Yeah.
It's not my passion as much. Like I can build little stuff and everything, but it's not like, I'm not like a fine carpenter.
I like being able to, it's very satisfying building stuff with wood, from how you can go with such rough stuff like framing
for real,
to like extremely fine carpentry. I probably like fine carpentry a little bit more, but then framing and stuff like that is like, you're getting so much done so fast. It feels very accomplishing. Like when you're like putting up the walls, that's just so like satisfying, because it's so quick and so easy, and it makes it feel like you get a lot done. Framing is very fast, but then you have to know all of them, because I know lots of guys like, okay, I frame, well, that's cool, but then you can't build a house if you just frame. You got to be able to know how to do the foundation, and then you got to be able to know how to frame it all, and then side it all, and then finish the inside and make it. You have to know the rough carpentry and the finished carpentry. I'm not saying that I'm good, but I really like finished carpentry
better than like framing, or no, or both. You like?
I probably like both, but I like finished carpentry, like super detailed stuff. Like over there on that door behind me, that goes into the new office. Yeah, and I did that.
It looks beautiful.
Quadruple stack. What do they call that? Craftsman header on there. I know, because we had it. Let me see if I can do this. There was a section missing of the sheetrock, like this, like a big section above the door. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to patch the sheetrock and then just do normal trim. But I'm like, hey, I've never done this, but this looks really cool. If I take a primed 1x4 and then just rip it down. I saw a picture of it, and then I just went from there, and it looks really nice.
I like wish all of the
I know
doors in the house were like trimmed out like that.
He's like, yeah, it's really good. He said the only problem is now Mom's gonna want you to rip out all the trim in the house and redo
I know, it's like it looks so good, and then you're like, oh, and because there's a plain normal door
it's
beside
like,
it,
just like
over there,
trim. I can't
over there. It's over there.
It's backwards.
It's backwards a little bit, but yeah, okay. So yeah,
I enjoy it, and then I just started. Well, last night was the first time I ever did anything epoxy. Oh yeah, and I did epoxy over. Well, we were doing for Matt's editing desk and an interview table that we're gonna have in the office over there. We were gonna do butcher block because we did butcher block in the tiny house, and it was relatively cheap. It was a little expensive, but it was finished and it was nice looking.
It was like right as the Rona broke out. We got that. So it was before the crazy
and it was an 8-foot piece for like $90. And I'm like, okay, that's decently cheap. It's nice and good. It's nice and smooth, and it's already jointed, and it looks really nice. And it's just easy. I'm like, I'll buy the butcher block, and we'll buy these nice steel legs, and I'll screw it together. It'll look nice. We can still customize it because it's wood. But we went on there, and now the $89 piece of butcher block is $250. Yeah. And I'm like, I've always wanted, because if you watch back, I don't know anyone who watched. Maybe Carlos. He's a pretty good fan.
Or well, Curly Q Stooge too.
Or Curly Q. If you look back on one
Maybe
of our
any of y'all.
videos, we helped our friend at one of his house. My carpentry buddy, he was over there and he was showing us. He had some old 2x6s left over on a job, and he was showing making countertops with them with a biscuit joiner. And I've always wanted to do that.
It turned out pretty good.
It turned out pretty good.
pretty
He
good.
used pretty old 2x4s.
Yeah, and he didn't square them off on the sides either.
No, he just butted them.
He butted them up, and they have what do they call that? On the edges of them.
Yeah, they plane the edges.
Plane the edges, so it was round.
They kind of round. Even with this Canadian like this white pine that I use, I like this because it's more square, but it still has that beveled edge.
Okay. So
what I did is I'm like, I'll do that because I said I can go to Home Depot and buy the biscuit joiner for $170. So I can have that tool forever until it breaks, but forever, and make this butcher block. I can buy all the wood to build a $400 piece of butcher block for all the wood for $100, and then buy the tool for $170. Still be like half the price. And once I have the tool, I can make butcher block, or I can get wood off the sawmill and biscuit joint it and make all kinds of cool projects. Biscuit joiner is really cool with 45 trim, because if you cut a 45 and you want it to stay together, some guys glue it, but if you put a biscuit joint in the corner, you can connect them together and make window casings and stuff. That's all biscuit jointed together, and it'll last a really long time. I'm like, I can do that, and we can make it. And I'm like, it's not going to be perfect. He had a belt sander, which is really nice for taking off a lot of material. I have an orbital sander. Yeah. Still works good if you have a really coarse pad. I got one. I bondoed the big cracks in a couple sections. There was a little bit of cracks. I bondoed that, and I'm like, well, I won't bondo the whole thing. Now looking at it, where I did that bondo spot and sanded that section, it's like perfectly flat. And then the rest is kind of still little gaps. I'm like, so now I know it still looks really good. So what I did after that is I sanded it down as good as I could. I could have sanded it better. I should have, but it's an experiment. You try and then you get better. Yeah. I stained it. And then once it was dry, I got a gallon of, it's called, I think, marine epoxy, but it's like a tabletop epoxy. And I epoxied over that, and just to give it a nice glaze coat. Because when you're working with like the orders and stuff, if you have tea on the counter, you don't want just wood. Like this desk is pallet, and it looks really cool, but dirt gets in there, and tea will get in there.
You want it to be very sanitary.
Yes, if you have it like epoxy, I'm like, it'll be like a glass countertop. Like you can just wipe it all off real smooth. It worked pretty good, but now I know the next one I'll do, I'm going to sand the whole thing up, bondo every crack on the whole thing, and it will be perfectly smooth, I hope. So I also got a belt sander. That way we can really get it smooth. Yeah. But that was a really fun project. And the epoxy is very satisfying.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Mixing it and then pouring it on there, and it just makes it like glass. There is a fly that got in it, but I'll sand it out or something. I'll figure it out.
So that's like another thing too, along with like with our business and everything, or businesses, is buying tools and stuff like that, and making very smart choices when buying tools, especially since we buy more on the expensive side of tools over the years. We've been able to afford more expensive tools. Yeah, and we mainly, if you all don't know, we're big Milwaukee fans, at least just with their power tools. Yeah. Cordless line. Other hand tools aren't the best in the world.
I tell people all the time, they're like, you buy Milwaukee, that's kind of expensive. I'm like, well, I want something. I'm sorry, I don't take care of my tools. I don't. They get left out in the rain, and they get used and abused.
Well, yeah, you work with them.
And I want something that I can abuse and it will last, and none other ones do. So I use these, and we have lots of little hardware stores, and that Milwaukee is very they have very good
not sponsored, by the way,
service with their like tools. Like no matter how old it is, you can send it in with most of their cordless tools and their contractor tools. You send it in to like a hardware store if you find someone who services Milwaukee. Yeah. They'll send it in, they'll fix it, or they'll give you a brand new one for free. And that to me, I'm like, well, if it's lifetime, I'm like, why would I not buy that? Because any other tool, okay, it might be great, but if it breaks and I gotta buy a new one,
I think Rigid does a lifetime warranty.
Yeah,
too.
Rigid
We've tried
does.
some of their Rigid
Rigid's
tools.
pretty good.
It's decent. It's decent.
Yeah, if you didn't want to go all the way out and buy Milwaukee, I would buy Rigid.
I'll buy a Rigid. Okay.
Yeah, they have a really good lineup, really good batteries. They look really cool.
They look really nice. They're new Rigid.
Yeah,
nice.
But
I mean, Dad bought a impact and a drill set.
Yeah,
and it was on sale or whatever, and it was the fuel line.
Yeah,
and brushless, and that thing has been.
We've had that for like 5 years.
5 years. And
now the drill is a little rusty, but it still works perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, the clutch is a little
loose, but it still works. It still works
perfectly fine. But the impact
hasn't even dropped
beautiful.
a second. I mean, like the back's all like beat up where it used as a hammer. It's been thrown off enough roofs, and it left out in the rain. And I don't want to abuse my tools, but they
need to survive.
Yeah,
they need.
Like I can't have something like if you watch any of the tool tests where you have like another. I'm not gonna call out any names, but if you have another kind of tool, like you have a DeWalt or Makita, and they're doing like a quick water test of that, it's like pour some water over. I can't have it just fry instantly because it gets left out on the job and dew gets on it and it's smoke. Well, that's retarded. I want something that can at least handle it for a couple times.
Yes. That was a nut. Oh man, I don't know if y'all saw that video, but the video with the guy with the Milwaukee drill, and he had a fish tank, and he just stuck that thing in there, and he just went like in and out.
It wouldn't die.
Oh, would not die.
Yeah, I know.
And if there was a better brand out there, all day. But we did invest in the brand of Milwaukee.
Yeah, because it's different. Like back then. Well, like a while ago, when
in the dinosaur era.
Yeah, before you had everything cordless, which is almost like it would be incredibly hard for me to do anything.
Oh my word, I can't even imagine.
When it was all corded, and that's what your tools were, I would buy anything. Yeah, sure. Why not? Because
if it works good and you plug it in, awesome.
You're not connected to a system once you start. Like I have Milwaukee, I have like
I need to get the charger.
15 Milwaukee batteries. I'm not gonna buy a DeWalt
or a Rigid
drill or a Makita. I'm not going to do that because I've invested in one tool brand, so that you got to pick a good one because once you buy the batteries, you don't want to switch.
Yeah, you're kind of invested.
And you don't want to be like, oh, I got to get that battery. I want all the batteries.
Yeah.
And fuel, if you're going to buy Milwaukee, just buy fuel because it's contractor grade and it's their most heavy duty. I haven't been impressed with like the low grade Milwaukee. It's way cheaper if you look at it in the pack outs, but just get the fuel. It'll be worth your money in the long run. It lasts longer. It's brushless.
Yeah. And we rely, not just our Milwaukee tools, but mainly our Milwaukee tools, but we rely on our tools. Yeah. Like they are the bread and butter. They make us money. So like when we show up to a job, we can't have a tool that's underperforming. Yeah. It needs to perform 110% until that battery is flat dead. I don't want this thing to go real. No, just you flat out run until you're dead. So type of tool. And we've been able to rely on them. All of them. It's not like, it broke,
I haven't had one
it's
break.
acting weird or anything.
Break.
And they're a little bit more expensive, but they last forever. I mean, we haven't had any breaks, so except for a plug-in Milwaukee sander. That was $40.
And you were like sanding steel with it.
I was sanding steel. I clamped it in a I clamped it in a
They used it as like a bench grinder.
Yeah, they meaning me. So sadly, I was sharpening knives and machetes and stuff, and anything I could sharpen.
And it's an orbital sander, so they would just push down on it and it would just bog it down.
They meaning me. So Amy says, how many businesses do you have? Well, we have several. We got the YouTube business. We got the website. We have sawmilling business. We have firewood business. We have the community business, which is just at any time if we need some money, or if we want to help some people out for free, we can do that. Then we got the carpentry business. So whenever we want to, at any time, if we're feeling bored or if we need a little, and the cattle business. Totally forgot about that one.
It just like
I know.
runs itself.
Yeah. That was the other thing too. I wanted to, it's all good to have businesses in carpentry and electrical and plumbing.
Yeah.
That's all good, but you can't eat any of those.
No.
Like when push comes to shove, and say it's a zombie apocalypse,
money isn't gonna matter.
You knock on somebody's door. Hey, do you need anything done around your house, like plumbing or something? Be like, no, I'm starving right now. If you had a cow, I would buy it from you or whatever, trade something for it. So, us brothers went out and we started talking around to our neighbors, and we found some Longhorns.
Yeah,
and
he wanted us to get into Longhorns for a while.
Yeah,
but we couldn't until we got the ranch.
Yeah, the Lord blessed us with the ranch,
where we have 15 acres. Soon we'll have more because they did clear cut some lumber off there.
So it's a 25-acre tract.
Yeah, of nice, good pasture.
Pasture.
Grazable land. There's a big difference between that and cleared land. Pasture is different than cleared land.
Cleared land, yeah. Grazable.
Yeah, it's grazable. So
it can sustain some cows.
Having the Longhorn, I think, was the best thing ever because there's so many. All the guys, I don't have anything against them, but all the guys who do Angus and Bramers and all those, it's like they have to be out there, and it's constantly doing something with the cows. And we got to do this with the cows, and we got to do that with the cows, and we got to give them these shots and this probiotics and this just to keep them alive. And then we got to feed them twice a day, and then we got to give them all this stuff.
That's not with everybody, but at least the couple people that we've had experience
all
with.
the guys who do it big time. And
we're not talking about small farmers.
We've talked to some of them, and they're like, if you don't have hay and if you don't have enough grass, like those beef cows, he said, like he raised beef master bulls, and before this drought, he said he knew it was coming. He probably did.
He said he knew it was coming because he was going off the winter's rain. Yeah. And he saw that we were like several inches behind, and then when there was and then that spring we didn't get the amount of rain that we needed. So he predicted the drought. So he sold everything off at pretty top dollar.
Said those beef master cows, they're great, but they're bred to eat. Yep. So if you cannot feed them as much as they can eat, they die. He said you can't stretch them at all.
Nope.
He said you all have Longhorns. He said that's great. He said most people would be against you. He said you can stretch those cows until they're all
bony and thin,
and
they'll
still live and they'll fatten back up and keep on growing.
As my neighbor would say, barbed wire and tumbleweeds. So or cactus or something like
and
that.
He said those beef masters, you can't if you feed them, you can't like just give them this much food a day. You have to have them. They have to have food all day long, as much as they can eat. If they don't, they die. He said you can't stretch them.
Yeah, they can't get thin and weak and
because they can't survive.
They're bred to produce beef
and to
eat them. Yeah. And whenever you try to mess that up with their eating cycle, sadly they die. Yep. So that's why we went ahead and we got the Longhorns. And there's a big Longhorn community, and I think it's amazing because we live in stinking Texas, and it is very. I mean, it's like the stinking state cow. I mean, to me anyway, it's like Texas, think of Texas and you think of Longhorns. At least I do. It's very authentic. You know?
And our neighbor over there across the street, who has Larry that we gave the hay to, he has lots of Longhorn, and we were always going over there, and it's like, oh, there's the new baby. Oh, yesterday there's the new baby,
and he hasn't been there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. And he doesn't go over there. He goes over. Oh, do they need some hay? Okay, put out some hay.
Put out some hay.
They just live, and they don't live. They thrive.
Yeah.
And you give them pasture, and you give them hay if they need it, and you give them a pond, and they live and they produce, and it's really amazing. Like with the cows, like you go over there. Oh, look, we got another baby. That's cool. And then they just live. It's amazing. And it's so awesome. And we do have a couple beef cows that we raise up, like Angus or Herefords from here to there. And as long as they're good Angus and they're not all super bred to be beef producers and they're not all vaxxed up, they do fine too.
They're fine.
Yeah, but you can't stretch them as thin as the Longhorns.
No, well, that was the one thing. Like during the drought, we forgot to put out. Well, we were trying to get hay and everything like that, so we kind of had to thin their hay back a little bit.
Yeah.
and we bought some Angus that are still over there. They're gonna get.
They got really skinny.
They got so skinny, y'all. It was so sad. They got so skinny, like so fast too. They dropped
couple
weight.
weeks.
I mean, it was only a couple weeks, and the Longhorns were fine. I mean, they were getting a little bit more lean, but not as lean as those Angus. Those Angus went bang, just super lean and thin, and we were getting scared. So we started feeding them grain and stuff like that. But yeah, we absolutely love our Longhorns.
Yeah.
I really like them, even though we get a lot of negative feedback from the local people.
Well,
Longhorn.
Oh, Longhorn tastes so bad. Like you care. I mean, like, okay, you're dying, and you're just gonna be like, I won't eat it.
I'm glad that people don't like it because it keeps the price of Longhorn meat low.
And it tastes amazing.
Oh yeah. You need to know how to cook it. If you take a Longhorn steak,
you can't just grab a Longhorn steak and throw it. I don't know.
Throw it on an open fire.
I actually don't know what steak you can do that to.
I don't know.
If you buy like $120 steak like Wagyu or like some like perfectly marbled steak, you can throw them on a grill or throw them on a fire and cook them, and they'll be tender and perfect and amazing. Whatever. But all the guys who do that, they cook them to medium rare and
medium rare.
Rard.
Rard?
Yeah.
It's rard.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
and
I'm sorry.
They just sear the outsides, and that's it. And it's pink on the inside. So it's tender. It's raw on the inside, and you just sear the outsides. Yeah. Look how tender it is. Well, you didn't cook it all the way through, so it didn't have time to get tough.
It's still raw.
They don't want to cook it too much because they just paid $120 for one steak.
So this is kind of a cool segue. So, all of us kids, our mom taught us all how to cook, and now we mainly cook a lot of our stuff. Like last night, we had grilled fish and what else? Mom made some baked beans, some homemade baked beans, but we cooked, and salad, and it was really good. But that's like another thing that we learned from a very young age was cooking. Yeah. A lot of people are, a lot of kids that I know of, like, can't cook that well.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. It's really not that hard.
It's easy to learn,
mainly because like. Especially when we're growing and everything, especially like, man, I would always get like really hungry all the time because, when you're getting growth spurts and stuff like that. So I just started making my own food. Like it started with like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but whatever. And then it just went on from there, making my own smoothies and everything. And it's not really hard. It's, you follow a recipe and you put in your stuff. I mean, that might sound very complex for some people, but like with our household, like, trying to stay on topic, but whatever. So we have all raw foods, which are now poisonous by the White House nutrition. Yeah, and we also keep like 150 pounds of Lucky Charms just in case. All day long, dude. They're the new salad now. The new meat. Yeah, the new meat. They're actually like 10 times better. They're like 5,000 times better. Yeah, so that's all we use. 100% Lucky Charms. All day long. Lucky Charms diet. We are a Lucky Charms only diet. Oh, what would that be like? Lucky Charmism or Lucky? And you don't have it with milk because that could be bad. Ooh, yeah, the milk could poison you. Yeah, it could poison you. So because that's it. Yeah, that cow that made it farted and stuff like that. So that's bad. Well, if you died from eating Lucky Charms, it was probably the milk. We actually use cockroach milk. Yes, it's really good. It is. It is really good. So anyway. Doesn't have ingredients on the back. It doesn't have. It just has Bill Gates' face on it. It's like that grin that he has. So anyway, so in our house we don't carry any pre-made food. No, never. I mean, other than the salad. Other than like we have like flour mixes. Like we have like Pamela's gluten-free bread mix. So why we have that is we can buy 60 pounds of that, and we don't have to get. Okay, get 20 pounds of almond flour and 20 pounds of tapioca flour and 20 pounds of rice flour, and then mix them all together. We can just have that, and we can stock up with that, and it's easier. Yeah. I mean, normal people that just, like, they have loads of snacks and pre-made food would lose their gourd here. I mean, there's all that. Our fridge is for leftovers and fresh vegetables. And some, like, condiments, just, like, ketchup and mustard. And when we don't have leftovers, it's just condiments. Like... You open it up and there's nothing in there. And there's like tumbleweeds. Well, 2 of our shelves broke in our fridge, and we still haven't even got a new fridge because we don't really need the shelves. I don't want. Yeah, that's the
because we
thing.
don't have
The fridge has
anything.
been amazing.
Yeah,
And I have a feeling that if we get a new fridge,
it's not gonna be amazing.
it's gonna break.
I've thought about like I'm gonna put wood shelves in it. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah,
That
just
would
because
be awesome.
it had these. I don't know who thinks about these things. Like, oh, we're a Frigidaire. We're so smart. We're gonna make glass shelves. Okay, that's a good idea. With plastic frames, hold it up. Like, and then we're gonna put like
Dumb.
150 pounds of fresh vegetables on it, and then it's gonna break. Yeah.
So did the glass actually break?
No,
Or
the
or
plastic
pla-
frame just broke. So, but they have those like
Dumb.
slots in the side of the fridge. I was thinking if I just
Plywood? Or
not plywood
or milled up wood.
Well, if I got finished plywood, and now that I
Like
know how
cabinetry
to, or
grade.
that that like tongue and groove, that like what do they call that stuff, like project board from Home Depot,
Yeah.
the thin stuff.
Mhm.
Then now I'm thinking, look, I can stain it, and then I can epoxy it, so it can't get wet. I didn't think about it. Now that I know how to epoxy stuff. I'm not saying I'm good at it.
Yeah.
But I can epoxy coat that thing, and then it can't get wet and expanded stuff. And if you have a wood shelf, I mean, I don't know, it would look really cool. You
It
open
would.
up the fridge and it's like a bunch of wood shelves.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
That'd be like, I mean, icebox status.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I just thought of another business that we have too.
Oh yeah, I just thought.
we started it last last year, I think.
We have a business of starting businesses.
Yes, we have a business. We're starting businesses. So anyway, it's the Food Forest in the Box.
Oh yeah, that's a business.
Yeah, that's a business in and of itself. And I love that one. Like that is my favorite thing to do
Because it's so much fun, and you
it's
do
so
it on
much
such
fun.
much
I
so
love it.
scale. Like you're
I
bringing in
love
like
it.
5-gallon buckets of cuttings.
Love it so much because you go out there and you just cut all these branches off, and while you're doing that, you're thinking about all the people that you're sending these to that will one day be eating the mulberries off the trees that they're planting from these little sticks.
Like that's coming soon.
That's coming very soon.
Yeah, everything's going to dormant.
The end of November, I think we're going to start selling the Food Forest in the Box. And it's going to be tricky because we have a lot of y'all out there that are going to want them, probably, maybe.
Last time we just had enough.
I
like
mean,
our trees, we
just
cut
had
them like down to the ground.
down to
just
the
to
ground.
like get them
And
enough cuttings.
What will have to happen this year if we cannot find anybody else, any other homesteaders that want to partner up with us, like locally, so we can get them real quick.
More cuttings.
We're gonna have to just keep it very limited. Like we're gonna
only 10,000 cuttings per person.
I don't know. Like we're gonna have to.
I don't know how do you calculate?
I don't
how
know.
Many we're gonna
I don't even
get.
know. Like the mulberry tree is gigantic, but we have several.
Mulberry.
We have several of them. We should be 100% fine with mulberries.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing is with that business is that all of the trees already need to get pruned for the year. And normal people, not saying all of them, or just normally you would prune the thing back, take a couple cuttings from that pruning, like a couple, stick them in some pots or in your food forest, and then the rest you would burn or whatever, use for maybe some smoking wood and stuff like that. But we can take all of our prunings and methodically cut them off, not in like an aggressive way that would destroy them.
Yeah.
And we can just turn around, we can sell them, and we can, give other people an opportunity to have their own
stuff
food,
like
to make their own food.
Mulberries and blackberries, stuff that like mulberries, like you literally can't mess it up. You just grab the mulberry thing and you literally stick it in the ground.
Stick it in the ground.
And you make sure it stays watered.
Yeah. Give it some water. And if you want it to really be good,
and if
you put it in a little pot.
Yeah, if you put it in a little pot, or if you start it in a grow pot, it'll go buck. It'll go crazy. It'll grow. I mean, those things grow like, how old is that mulberry tree out there?
The mulberry tree out there is only like I think it's going to be turning 3 or 4 years old.
And it's like this big.
It's like this round, y'all. It's gigantic.
But it only goes up about a foot, and then it just branches out,
and it's beautiful. But yeah, and then so that's another business. But then we have the other business that we had too was, it's not just the cattle business of raising our own cattle. Was I was gonna say cattle rustling. That's not the right word for it.
Cattle hustling.
hustling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not rustling.
No, not rustling. We're not
Yeah,
stealing
we
them.
rustle
No,
cattle.
we rustle cattle. No, I'm like Lone Ranger status over here. He's
gonna
coming.
rustle
He's
cattle.
yeah, gonna go rustle some cattle. No, but we go around the community and stuff like that, and find people that it was really awesome.
It's like hot shotting cows.
Hot shotting cows. It was awesome because there was loads of people that just couldn't during the drought just couldn't afford to feed their cows that really expensive hay, and the butchers were totally backed up. But we, right as the drought was getting pretty bad, we just we started talking to our local butcher, and we set up like quite a few butcher dates.
Yep.
Without having the cows, we did not have any.
We never had the cows.
No, we never had the cows
for the butcher dates. Never.
So we always tried to figure it out. And it was a real blessing for several people. And it was really sad too, because a couple of the cows that we got were their baby dolls.
Yeah.
And I mean, just just your plain Jane family cow, and they absolutely loved them, but they just couldn't afford to feed them. So
yeah.
But at least we were able to buy them from them for a way, way, way nicer and way more than if they would have taken it to a sale barn.
Yeah, you're losing money.
You're practically losing money if you take them to a sale.
The lines were crazy.
The lines were outrageous this year.
Like at little sale barns,
so
just packed.
That was another blessing from the Lord, was being able to get in with our butcher. Something about us being Texas Cowboys and real respectful has won their respect. And I mean, anytime we need a cow butchered, I mean, within a couple weeks we can get it butchered. It's been a real big blessing. And like the one time we had lined up to get a pig butchered, and a neighbor down the road was like, "Oh, I got a pig, and I don't want to keep feeding them."
Pig, it was like a rhino.
It was more like a rhino pig. If you can imagine that. The thing was like 500 something pounds.
Literally, like had scales on it.
Scales on it. Poor thing. It was so old. And we trailer it up, and man, when we're like, man, we only got one butcher date, so we called in, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it for y'all." So we were able to
get in two,
and they both were like 400 pounds
hanging
weight. So I mean, they were close to 500 something pounds.
Because the guy that we bought the two from, we bought two, gave one to our neighbor, and then picked up the other one from our other neighbor. And the guy said, "Yeah, they're probably about 350." Yeah, weight overall, not hanging weight.
No.
And when we got there, I'm like, "Yeah, 350 2 years ago." I'm like, "This pig probably weighs like 600." Pigs do not look as heavy as they are. Solid muscle, like
so solid.
They are solid all the way through. They weigh. I mean, we had a little coon pig that we took once, and he weighed 400
some pounds. And that's hanging weight, so that's without the guts and everything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Or no, that was overall weight.
Was that? Oh, okay.
That was overall weight.
But I mean, like hanging weight.
Hanging weight is
just the meat,
skeleton, all the the carcass with the bones,
but no
organs, no skin.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but that's hanging weight.
Pretty.
Once they have them hanging to cure, it's hanging weight.
So yeah, so that's what we do too. We do a little bit of that, and we're able to. We don't sell meat. We sell it as dog food to people, and we write up a little receipt and stuff like that. That says, we're not liable for anything. So then we don't get in any pickles.
And people
like poor Amos Miller.
Have some dogs that eat a lot of meat.
Dude, I mean, like whole families of them.
Oh yeah,
like
big families.
Big families too. Yeah, dog families. If you get what we're talking about. Anyway.
Kind of went way off subject, but it's fine.
Yeah, we did. It's fine. We're talking about our businesses and everything that we do. So trying to think of other things, like what would you say? I'm trying to think of anything else if we could talk about, because we kind of went over everything, trades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what would we recommend for trades and stuff like that, which we kind of already talked about.
Yeah.
About being, doing all that type of stuff.
Anything else you could think of?
Nothing that I could think of. I think that was all I wanted to talk about. So I think that's it, y'all. Thank y'all so much for being on. We've been on here for exactly an hour.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome. Able to give y'all a little bit of a quality show, Lord willing. Lord willing. Hopefully the audio turned out halfway good. And thank y'all so much for tuning on. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Curly Q Stooge, Pete the Sasquatchy, and everybody else that joined the live stream here. Common Sense. The studio is coming along very well. Common Sense. So, and it should be done by the end of this week, I think.
Yep.
Or, well, at least we'll be in it. We should be moved in.
Yeah.
Our legs are coming for the table today also. So that's really cool. Yeah. So anyway, that's it, y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Go subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, subscribe to the channel. And if y'all liked this if you like this type of podcast style, please let us know in the comments down below or in the chat, and please drop a like as well. Have you guys got plans for college? No, we are not going to college. College is a waste of money. I've said this several times before. I liked Tim Cass' way how he said it, and I agree 100%. And I say the same thing. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a veterinarian, something that really requires you to go get a higher education.
Most college stuff, probably like 50% of it. I've never been, and I don't know anything about it, but
no,
most of it you can do online.
Like, a lot of it.
Lot of it.
Most of it.
Okay,
yeah.
if you're going to be a doctor, you can't do that online yet. Okay, yet. But most of it, like you, one of our mom's friends, her son is going to do electrician, like trade school to be electrician and plumbing. I'm like,
that's so silly.
I'm like, that is so dumb.
So silly.
Not only are you gonna waste 30 grand,
30,
I don't even
40,
know what it is nowadays. It was way too much back then.
Yeah.
But you can go be an apprentice for anybody and learn real life.
And you make money at the same time.
Like, what do you do at a trade school? Oh, God, so when you take the PVC, you put primer on and then glue, and then you push it together. Like,
wow, I could have learned this on a YouTube video.
Go apprentice to master electrician or apprentice with a plumber and
make $20
money
an hour.
Make money. Yeah. Don't you're making money and learning the same thing. Where depending, like, I don't get it why you would spend money to learn it. The amount of money you're going to spend in college, you're never even going to make back unless you instantly go into like a lineman electrician.
It'll take you a couple of years. Yeah. If you start,
if you're a master electrician. Yeah. If you go be a Joe Schmo plumber,
it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. Yeah. So, yeah, no college for us. No, college is silly. I was actually talking to my grandmother this morning. She's down. So, she's like, the cool thing about y'all is that, you're not going to college and all this other silly nonsense stuff, because so you actually have a way head start. I mean, I'm 17, you're 15.
Yep.
And we already have our businesses all done, and not all done, but already started.
Yep.
And normal kids are like trying to figure out what they're going to do when they're like 25,
and
30.
College is so forced. Like, even if you're going to go,
it's synthetic.
Okay, you're going, so you got to figure out what you want to do. Like you're not going to change. Like you're not going to be like, I mean, so many people, you go in and you go for electrician. Well, I don't want to be an electrician. Well, there goes all your money. And then even more dumb people like, oh, well, I changed. So I was going in to be an electrician, but now I'm going to be a whatever, something else. So the college loves that. And because, you switched? Okay, just pay another double what you were going to pay and stay in another 5 years.
Yeah, and then you just wasted all that time.
Yeah, waste more time. It's so, like.
And you're removed from your community
and like, half the people that go to college, like, and then they get like halfway through it, or 3/4 of the way through it, and they're like, whatever, dumb, I'm leaving.
Well, that's what.
And you still have to pay for it.
Dad was in there for 7 years, and he switched majors several times. I'm pretty sure, and I mean, he finally had to drop out.
And you still have to pay for it, and you didn't ever finish, and you didn't get some piece of paper.
I know. Like, just for a piece of paper that says, I'm smart at this and can do this and that.
So dumb.
That's so silly. When you could have invested it in your community, and your community could have been like, no, that guy knows how to frame a house or whatever, plumbing or whatever.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Yeah.
Which, Yeah. So I think going to an actual
Going to college for simple stuff like that is
so
really
silly.
dumb.
It's really silly.
Yeah.
It's really silly. But I think mainly it's because they've been ingrained in their head that they
Have to go to
You
college.
have to go to college to succeed in life.
That's
in America,
what they tell you. Well, if you're raised in public school, I mean, what do you mean? You have to go to college. It's not like you
there's
don't
no
go
choice.
to college.
Like
Yeah.
if you don't go to
When you're
college,
done school,
you're an
you go to
idiot.
college, and then when you're done college, you pay a student loan off the rest of your life and make no money.
Unless you there are a couple people out of that percentage of people
that finally go all the way through college and actually
they
learn
hit it
something.
hard. Yeah, and they make a lot of money too.
I
know a lot of people that have done that.
And you wasted a lot of time to get there.
Too. Yeah.
I mean,
But it all depends on what you're going for.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a doctor, like we've said before,
you gotta go.
You gotta go. Period. End of story. You gotta go. But so there's a give and a take, and the longer it is, the longer it goes on with all this crazy stuff that's happening in the world, to go into college and expose yourself to the absolute trash that's in the college system is silly, especially if you're not a saved, born again Christian. You're just asking to get your mind polluted and turn into some woke crazy person. Because you will. And I see it all the time where kids go into college and they come out a totally different animal because they weren't, they go in for something so silly, or they just don't know what they want to do. And they just, like, I've seen several times where people are like, oh, he went off to college. Oh, what is he doing? Oh, well, he's just trying to find himself or whatever. I'm like, what? Like,
so what are you doing there?
I mean, like, I don't know. So
Laura McClare said, my friend is almost $300,000 in debt for a couple degrees in physiology. She's in her 40s. Most of it was online learning, and she has to do internships that are unpaid. What a waste. I know, and they'll charge online college. Yeah, it's great, but they charge you the same amount of money.
I know, it's so silly.
So, I mean, at least you don't have to experience all the garbage that's there, but you're still
not as much of it.
It's a program, and they're charging you like 30 grand. I mean, like, dude, talk about robbery.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh well, public school is free. Well, you make up with it for college. So there you go.
Yeah, and it's not free because
you're paying for it. Everyone's paying for
all the garbage.
People that don't use it are paying for it.
I mean, we're paying for it.
Yeah.
In our tax dollars.
I mean, how dumb is that? Like, some people don't know that, actually.
I know.
Some people don't know that.
Greg Abbott, if you're listening, Greg Abbott, or anybody, I don't care. Greg Abbott, since all these people love to glorify this guy, he's the governor of Texas. You want to do something good, buddy? You want to get me on your team?
Yeah. People that don't go to public school
don't use the system.
Yeah.
Don't have to pay school taxes. Yeah.
That just makes sense.
It makes sense. And Greg Abbott's always trying to do cool stuff, I guess. But
even if you did that, then okay, well then you can obviously say that public school is not free, because if just the parents that are sending their kids to public school were paying for the taxes for it, well then you're paying for it. You're just you don't have to pay for it, but you have to pay for it. I mean, it's like you're still paying.
It's very true. Yeah, and you pay it in everything practically.
Yeah,
which is terrible. And on top of that, which is the sad thing, is that you send your kids off. We pay all this stupid tax money to these mega disgusting schools. And then on top of that, they feed the kids poison.
Yeah.
And then they poke them with all their pokes.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And then they brainwash them on top of it. So it's like the triple or the quadruple trifecta or whatever. I don't know what to say.
And if somehow your kid comes good out of public school, then you send them to college, then they're 100% guaranteed to be dumb.
Or whatever. I don't know. Just messed up.
Super messed up.
Yeah. I'm just amazed and shocked that our mom and dad were able to go through all of that propaganda and turn out to be halfway good people.
The only thing that made it work is because it was so long ago.
Yeah. Well, that too. Yeah. I don't even want to know what's going on nowadays with all the gender stuff and everything like that.
Crazy.
And all the racism and everything like that. All the people that teach all that stuff are the real racists in the world. and want to divide us, like we've said several times before. You know, that's why they want to have the rights and the lefts and, you know, the blacks and the whites and all this type of stuff, because they want to divide us.
Yep.
You know, they don't want us to be the United States of America. They do not want us to be united, because when we are united, we are very powerful people, very powerful people. And if they can divide us all up into these little niche categories in little boxes, we are very powerless. Or way more powerless. So, you know, that's why we try our hardest.
Yep.
You know, especially on this channel, you will find you're going to find non-biased content, and you're not going to find pro-Trump or pro-Biden stuff on this channel. You're going to find right in the middle. You know, we're not left or right. It's not about left and right. It's about right and wrong. You know, that's all of our comment. That's all of our content on this channel, right down the middle. Yep. And you can, you know, if you think more left or what, I just always hate saying all that stuff because, you know, it's about right and wrong. Yep. And not trying to be Pollyanna, you know, and stuff's, you know, tough in the world and all that type of, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, gonna stop rambling, y'all. Gotta go dig some sweet potatoes. Going to film Mom's video today. Yep. Texas mom, my mother, and I'm gonna film her. I'm gonna go ahead and get a video out. So I think I'm going to post half of the video on this main channel and then the other half on her channel. Lord willing, we'll see. So thank you to everybody that's on here. Sorry, I kind of like ended it almost and then started it back up because somebody had a really good question and I thought it was a good segue. So anyway.
If y'all want to go support us, go down to TexasBoys.com and check out some of the stuff we got over there.
Yeah, that would be a big blessing. You can buy some of our shirts. We got all types of stuff. Coffee. Yep. The coffee that we were drinking today was Cookie Doodle coffee. It was very good. And, you know, if you want to see more content like this, just y'all watching the video and giving it a like and sharing it is more than enough also. So thank y'all so much, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye-bye.